Okay. So, hello, my name is Eric Castillo. This is my final project. I created a student database system, and all right, so let's get started. So, this is already running the program. Once you start it, it'll display 7 options, which is your add a student, view all students, of course, search, calculate, save to a file, load from a file, and of course, our exit. Now, if we go to option number 1 to add a student, it's gonna pretty much clear the screen. It's gonna go to the next section, which is to add the student. And of course, we can enter the name. So for example, here we can go John Doe. Then we have to input the grades. For example, we can go like this. I did set this for pretty much just 3 grades, and it adds it to the database. So there has already been added. So we can add another one. We can just, of course, press number 1 and go back into it. Go like this. Enter grade number 1. I also included to, if you enter an invalid number or a, a letter that something's not a number or a negative number, of course it will show an error message. It's an invalid input. So, for example, -10, invalid input. If we go A, B, C, of course it's not going to take it. So here, of course, we can input our numbers again. All right, goes like that. And let's input one more just to have a little bit more on the database. All right. All right. So there we already have 3 students into the database. Now we go to option number 2 to view all students. We just press 2. And here's where we see all the students. So here are the 3 entries that we inputted. So it kind of displays them in a table, just for it to look, of course, neater, cleaner. Our first column is going to be the name, which is of course the people that we entered. Then our grade number 1, grade number 2, grade number 3, and of course the final result will be the average. So here, for example, John D, we inputted these 3 grades, and the average is an 80. Same thing with Eric C. It was 80, 99, 55, and the average is 78, and so on for Kim. So we press any key. Of course, we go back to the main menu. Now for option number 3, to search by name. So of course, it clears the screen again. It goes back over here, and we can enter by name. So for example, we inputted Eric. So we can like this, and it's just going to show the same type of table, but of course, just with the input of Eric. And very similar, if we go back to option number 3 to search by name, if we input something that's not in here or something that it cannot detect by the name, then of course no data should be displayed. No matching students, because of course we don't have anybody named with ABC. Now, I think maybe Kim should appear. We type K. All right, Kim and Eric, because both of them have K, of course. And we see both of those entries. Now, we can go to option number 4, which is to calculate the overall class grade. This is pretty much taking all the students' averages grade, which right now we only have 3, and then of course it's going to divide it by the number of students, so by 3, and we should get the average. So I go to the 4. So the class average is a 72.55. All right. For this one, there's not much to it. It's just taking the average. For option number 5, this is going to save it to a file. All right. And I actually chose to save it as a CSV format only because I think it's cleaner. If you were to open this program, if you were to open the CSV in like an Excel software or a spreadsheet, it automatically opens neater just by the simple fact that it's separated by a comma. Spreadsheet systems already have this program, so like it opens CSV much neater and looks more as a table. So that's the only reason why I went with the CSV. For option number 6, of course, it's going to load the same file with that same name, which is the students.csv. In this case, since we literally just opened the program, we're not going to see the difference, but let me run it again. So here, of course, option number 7, we close the program. I'm going to run it again really quick. So right here, we just open the program. So we go to option number 2, for example. There's no student records. That's because this is the first time we're running the program and there's nobody who has to load it. But if we go to option number 6, which is to load the file, it already loaded the CSV file. And then we go to option back number 2, and our table is listed now. And again, we can continue to add more people and continue to save them and load it to the file. And of course, they get exported back into the CSV. And that's it. Everything gets loaded perfectly. If you open the CSV file in a different spreadsheet and add more people, you can add them that way too. And then you can load it back into the program and everything gets displayed. But yes, that's the program. Now, exit it. Okay. Now, the project itself uses just 2 main files, which of course is program, which is the one that pretty much handles everything, like the logic interface itself. Our second file is student. This is where it's just defining the structure, the behavior of what the cost for the student would be. All right. And student, now pretty much I created the class name for student. So we included 5 properties pretty much when it comes to the name, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and of course our average. This is of course the variables that we need when it comes to recording the data for the student. Over here, we're gonna calculate the average and pretty much output it. And that's pretty much it when it comes to our student file. We go back to our program. So I already added the notes here. All right, so here we pretty much start our program. And from how we're going to list the variables, we're going to add the student. We're going to get a valid grade. Here's pretty much where it comes to our options. This is how the menu gets displayed and how it gets presented. This is when we're going to add a new student and what question is going to get prompted. And of course, where we're going to store our memory or value when we input, for example, the grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. If in case there is no number, then of course this is where our error check or invalid input comes in hand. Of course, it has to be from a 0 to between 0 and 100 for it to be valid. If it's anywhere out of there, hence when we input a negative number or we input a variable where it's A, B, C, it's not going to take it. For our option number 2, this is where we're going to display all the students. And here's kind of how we did in somewhat making it look like a table, just for it to appear a little bit clean. And of course, our values as to what we're going to display, our name, our grades, our grade number 2, our average. When we're going to search by our student name, we pretty much added to lower the variables. So in case they were to be capital letters, we're going to make them all lowercase just so it can always be matching. And of course, then from there, we're matching the actual name. And of course, if we found a match, then we're going to display the table. If there was no match, then of course, no matching student found. right? So over here, we're of course calculating the average of the class. This is very similar to the other one that we did right now, or that we saw. Of course, this we're just averaging out the actual averages from the students, and then we're going to average it out dividing by the total amount of students. To save to our CSV file, this is pretty much it. And of course, if there was to be any errors, this is what our message would appear. I just added the text also that's saving as a CSV file just to be on the safe side. But like I mentioned in the CSV, I think it's much cleaner. It's very similar to a text file, but it just looks nicer, especially when you open it on a spreadsheet document. To load the student data, it's also just going to fetch for the name. I mean, if we were to expand on this, I guess we can select to save a specific file name and then of course choose the file name. If there's multiple CSV files, or choose your file that you're opening or the name of the file, just so you can have multiple files or work with multiple files. But of course, this is just for demonstration. And our option number 7, which is to exit the program. And from here, we end the program. It clears and we close it. And that's it. Thank you.